right, viewers, let's begin with the topmost story making news at this point of time, and that concerns the CBSE board exams where class 12 is concerned. There's been a huge controversy, suspended animation of sorts, whether or not the board exams will go ahead where the 12th standard is concerned. The Prime Minister today chaired a high-level meeting on Class 12 board exams. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, IB Minister Prakash Javadekar and top officials of the Education Ministry were present. Sources have told India Today that the Prime Minister is being briefed on all possible options. As per insiders, the Central Board of Secondary Education has proposed two options to the PM. The first option is to conduct exams for 19 main subjects only, and that too at designate centres. The second option, proposed by the CBSE, was to hold 90-minute long exams involving multiple choice questions only. The exam could be held for 11 subjects and 3 electives. The CBSE also proposed second chances for students who missed exams due to COVID issue. Schoolgirls... All right, so that's the latest that is coming in. I want to connect immediately to my colleague Tanushri Pandey, who's reporting on the story. Tanushri, once again, detail us the options that CBSE has presented to the Prime Minister and his government, and what can we expect?
That's right, Preeti. In fact, a very important decision-making is underway right now. As you rightly mentioned, Prime Minister Rajnath Singh, Prakash Javadekar, and apart from that, we know that HRD Minister right now is admitted in AIIMS due to his post-COVID complications. So that's why he couldn't be in the meeting. But the purpose of the meeting right now is the fate of lakhs of students who are yet to give their CBSE 12 board examinations. Now, Preeti, you rightly mentioned that there are two main options being suggested to the Prime Minister by the CBSE, by the board, and in consultation with all the states where the states have to go with either of these options. Now, the first option is to conduct the examination for 19 major subjects, and the rest of the subjects can be calculated on the basis of an internal assessment. And the second option, which is being suggested by the board, is that all the students are allowed to give examination in their own respective schools. They don't have to go to any other center, and the examination duration will be shortened to 90 minutes. That is 1.5 hours and not 3 hours. And I'll tell you, we have reported this earlier, that Delhi government, Maharashtra government, Goa and Andaman and Nicobar, these are the 4 governments which have outrightly said that examinations should be cancelled, whereas the rest of the states have either gone with option A or option B. So right now, and while this meeting is being taken place and while we speak, Preeti, I'll tell you that lakhs of students are putting across their point of view on Twitter, saying that the examination should be cancelled. In this pandemic, we are already under a lot of pressure. So anything other than cancellation of exams will be, a sort of a more pressure on the students. So that is why Prime Minister, who has always maintained that the security and safety of the student is of utmost priority, he is right now being, being made aware of all the options that is on the table. And let's see how the Prime Minister and other ministers decide. But we'll tell you that as of now, the board and the ministry have said that the matter is sub judice. It's in the court. And we'll give a reply to the Supreme Court, and whatever the Supreme Court decides, we are going to go with that. So let's see how the ministry and the Prime Minister's office decide on this particular matter. But right now, one of the most important decisions, which is going to decide the fate of lakhs of students, of the youth of this country, is whether the CBSE 12th class examination should take place or not in the middle of this pandemic. Preeti, back to you.
Thank you, Tanushri. We're going to continue to come back to you for further updates on that story. Trust India Today to get you all the latest there. Let's shift focus right now. Let's shift focus to Tamil Nadu. In Chennai, girls very bravely exposed sexual harassment in the prestigious PSBB school. But what's really happened now is there has been a whiplash effect to it, and there's been a number of schools reporting sexual harassment, a Me Too kind of movement taking place.
In the last 1 week, the beautiful city of Chennai has been rocked by stories of sexual harassment. One after another, harassers were called out on social media, and it all started with one school. A teacher from the popular and prestigious PSBB school in Chennai was arrested after students and alumni spoke out about how he harassed girls in the school. harrowing tales of how this man on your screens harassed students during even online classes shocked the city. He would allegedly turn up for classes in a towel, would privately send inappropriate messages to girl students and comment on their WhatsApp DPs.
Alumni students claim that various minor students from the school have come forward and raised allegations that the particular teacher has touched them inappropriately and he has been speaking with sexually colored comments several times.
In a matter of days, the teacher, Rajagopal, was arrested.
Concerned teacher has been taken under the police custody. So now the inquiry is going, so I don't want to reveal anything here.
This movement, which saw prominent Chennaiites voicing their support, gave a platform to more victims, and slowly they too spoke out. Students of another Chennai school, Maharishi Vidya Mandir, also spoke out about a male faculty. The story is similar, of sexual harassment, of body shaming young girls and failing them if they dared to speak out. The school immediately suspended the teacher, P. Anand, but so far no legal action has been taken against him. Days later, another horrific incident came to light. This time, a sports academy head coach arrested on sexual harassment charges. A 19-year-old survivor spoke out about how she was held back during coaching classes and sexually harassed several times. The accused Nagarajan was arrested and booked under the POCSO Act. Amid this string of incidents, a 26-year-old woman filed a complaint with the Chennai police against a martial arts teacher. 41-year-old Kebi Raj was accused of touching the victim inappropriately and even allegedly threatened to kill her to ensure she didn't approach the cops. As women chose to speak out and expose these sexual predators, an award being given to lyricist Vairamuthu created a storm. Why? Because singer Chinmayi named Vairamuthu as a sexual predator.
He has always been somebody who has used his political power and his general power in the entire scene of art and politics to molest, threaten and silence women and force women to continue to work with him. It's been more than 2.5 years and my right to work has been denied.
The outrage finally prompted Vairamuthu to put out a video saying that he would return the award.
காழ்ப்புணர்ச்சி கொண்ட சில பேரின் குறுக்கீட்டினால் அந்த விருது மறுபரிசீலனைக்கு உள்ளாக்கப்படும் என்று அறிவிக்கப்பட்டிருப்பதாய் அறிகிறேன். நான் ONV கல்ச்சுரல் அகாடமிக்கே திருப்பி அளிக்கிறேன்.
It all started with one horror story from a top Chennai school and has encouraged scores of girls and women to speak out about how they've been tormented by sexual predators in a city that's always had a record of being one of the safest. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, while coronavirus hasn't spared most of the country with its wrath, there have been certain pockets that have escaped it. The Isha Foundation, Isha Ashram in Coimbatore is one of those.
The Isha Foundation Ashram in Coimbatore has 3,000 volunteers. It's remained virtually untouched despite a surge in COVID cases across Tamil Nadu. The self-imposed safety protocols have richly paid off.
For the past 1 year or so since the COVID has surged in the country, we've been very careful about the protocols that have been in place. One of the first things we did was that we stopped all guests and visitors from entering the yoga center. Right. Apart from that, various activities were also curtailed. There are teachers who go outside and teach. Various activities we are involved in.
Masks, social distancing, regular fever checks and sanitization drives continue even as ashram inmates go about with daily duties.
We've also reorganized the ashram in such a way that there's no gatherings of any sort. If you're not wearing a mask, that means you have to hold a sign that says, please wear a mask for 2 hours and stand. So that, you don't forget to wear a mask.
A 3-minute yoga practice called Simha Kriya, which seemingly strengthens lungs and immune system, has also helped. Their near-vegan diet, devoid of harmful chemicals, has helped to keep the virus at bay.
The food what we are having here is a sattvic food. So it's mainly we include more of raw fruits and vegetables into our daily diet. So that itself is very helpful for us to keep more active and alive throughout the day for our activity. So here in the yoga center we consume twice a day meals. It's not thrice. So twice a day. Only twice. Okay. So we have in the morning brunch at 10 o'clock and in the night dinner at 7 p.m. So we have got a medical team inside the ashram itself to take care of the small infections.
We wake up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. We start our day with neem leaves, consuming raw neem leaves and a ball of turmeric. These are both very good to boost the immunity and to keep infections away with a glass of warm water. Apart from this, when we have our meals, the first thing we have is Nilavembu Kashayam, half a glass of that. This is an Ayurvedic drink. We have it twice a day on empty stomach.
43 villages near the ashram too have reported a low case count, despite Coimbatore witnessing an unprecedented surge.
Bollywood பஞ்சாயத்து வந்து 13 ஏம்லெட் சேர்ந்தது. இதில் ஆதிவாசிகள் பகுதி வந்து 7 வருது. இந்த 7லையுமே ஒரு கேஸுமே இல்லை. இந்த மக்கள் வந்து கொஞ்சம் வெளியே ஒருத்தர் 2 பேர் போயிட்டு வர்றதுனால அந்த தொற்றுகள் வெளியே இருந்து பரவிடுச்சு. அது தெரியாமல் போய் பரவணும். அதனால் செம்மேட்டில் கொஞ்சம் அதிகமாக இருக்குது, போல்வாம்பட்டியில் அது கொஞ்சம் கம்மியாக இருக்குது.
Ashram volunteers provide the famous Kashayam concoction made up of herbs to 1 lakh residents of these 43 villages, also teaching yoga lessons and COVID awareness.
நல்லாத்தே இருக்குங்க. நாங்கள் கீரையெல்லாம் சாப்பிடுவோங்க. கஷாய தினம் வாங்கி குடிக்கிறோம். எங்களுக்கெல்லாம் நல்லாத்தே இருக்குங்க.
நல்லதா? கொரோனா வந்தில்ல?
இல்லைங்க.
நல்லா சூப்பராக இருக்கா. இது குடித்தனால சளி காய்ச்சல் ஏதாவது இருந்தாலும் போயிடுதுங்க. கஷாயம் குடிக்கிறனால இங்கே எல்லா மக்களுக்கு இவங்க 11 மணிக்கு ஷார்ப்பாக வந்துடுதுங்க.
Around 90,000 people benefited here. Grammar speech not reach very well, but local language colloquial speech is reach many more people. That kind of activities, music and the language. Anna slang is local language slang. That slang, easy to communicate and convey the message to the people.
The Isha Foundation's example can be helpful in the community fight against COVID.
It's been a year and a half since Sadhguru's Isha Foundation in Coimbatore have kept their gates closed, leaving at least 3,000 odd volunteers living inside safe. When asked what's their magic formula to keep the virus at bay, they say yogic and meditative practices, 2 sattvic meals a day and some kashayam. Now that herbal concoction is also supplied to at least 43 villages in the vicinity. Villagers claim that that's helped them ward off common cold, cough, fever. But from what we really see, the actual success formula here is indeed isolation. It's easier said than done, but surely they have led the way. With camera person Pawan Kumar, Nabila Jamal for India Today, Coimbatore.
All right, let's shift focus to the sensational Sushil Kumar murder case. If anybody thought that this was the first time that Sushil Kumar found himself on the wrong side of the law, well, not true. He's been under surveillance for a very long time for hobnobbing with dreaded criminals.
A celebrated icon with 2 Olympic medals, idolized by millions across the world. But soon it all took a black hue for wrestler Sushil Kumar. The rot began in 2017 when Sushil ventured into running a toll plaza business, a highly lucrative one. Needing musclemen to collect tolls from wayward motorists, Sushil turned to dreaded Western UP gangster Anil Bhati, nephew of jailed mafia don Sundar Bhati. This old image of Sushil and Bhati together establishes the wrestler-gangster proximity. Anil Bhati, who's accused of murdering a BJP leader among other crimes, started supplying hardcore criminals to run the Sushil Kumar managed toll plazas. Delhi and National Capital Region Police, who had an inkling of the wrestler's links to gangsters, had started putting him under surveillance. But Sushil had so far evaded them.
today has learned that wrestler Sushil Kumar was under surveillance of cops for a long time for hobnobbing with hardcore criminal and gangster. The Olympian, however, used to leave little evidence of his criminal links, but his arrest in the Sagar Dhankar murder case has made skeleton tumble out of his clothes.
Apart from mulling organised crime law makoka against him, the Delhi police has now suspended Sushil Kumar's arms license and moved to revoke it completely. His pistol, recovered after the murder of Sagar Rana, has been sent for forensic testing. The police had earlier seized a double-barreled gun and 3 bullets from an SUV owned by a gangster and aid of the wrestler from the crime spot. Sushil, whose video assaulting Sagar Rana, the young wrestler, had been recovered and is also accused of opening fire at Delhi's Chhatrasal Stadium to intimidate the young wrestler who finally died that day. With Arvind Ojha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, let's shift focus right now to fugitive diamond heir Mehul Choksi. Well, the run of Mehul Choksi continues. However, the latest coming in right now is that India Today learns from sources that the ED will tomorrow be filing an affidavit before the Dominican court with details of Mehul Choksi's criminal activities. He is right now at a Dominica jail. The probe agency will explain to the court how Choksi is an Indian citizen and on what grounds he would be deported. Meanwhile, India Today has access to documents of a yacht which ferried Choksi in a hush-hush manner to Dominica, possibly after being lured and honey-trapped by a girl. The document from Antigua Immigration Department says the yacht left on the May 23rd for Dominica, a journey of 190 kilometers. This journey could not have normally taken place in 3 days, but documents from the Dominica immigration shows that the yacht arrived on May 25th. The Dominica opposition now claims that the 3-day gap in Choksi's itinerary confirms that he was abducted as part of an elaborate operation by India, Antigua and Dominica. All right, viewers, for those who watch tennis closely or follow the game very, very closely, disappointment for Naomi Osaka's fan. The world number 2 has bowed out of the French Open, citing depression.
Naomi Osaka shocked the sporting world on Monday evening when she announced her withdrawal from the ongoing French Open. But why? Because she faced expulsion following her decision to not participate in press conferences. Saying that the media had no regard for an athlete's mental health, Osaka said that press conferences had adverse impacts on players, and that's why a few days before the Grand Slam, she announced that she will boycott these media interactions. And in response, she was fined heavily. A penalty of $15,000 was levied after she skipped her presser post her first-round victory on Sunday against Patricia Maria Tega at Court Philippe Chatrier. The French Open Twitter handle even subtly mocked Osaka by posting pictures of other players attending press conferences with the caption, "They understood the assignment." But the biggest rebuttal came via a joint statement from the chairpersons of the 4 Grand Slams, who said Osaka would face bigger sanctions, including expulsion from current and future tournaments, if she continued to skip the press conferences. Open 2018 and took time to bounce back. She added that she was feeling vulnerable in Paris, where she hasn't gone past the 3rd round and hence wanted to exercise self-care. While the Grand Slams have taken on Osaka, she has received support from others in the sporting world. The Williams sisters expressed solidarity with Osaka, as did Coco Gauff and NBA star Stephen Curry.
The only thing I feel is that I feel for Naomi. I feel like I wish I could give her a hug because I know what it's like. Like I said, I've been in those positions. So, you know, you just have to let her handle it the way she wants to in the best way that she thinks she can.
But it's a divided house. Top stars like Nadal and Djokovic have emphasized on the importance of press.
Without the press are writing the news and the achievements that we are having around the world, probably we will not be the athletes that we are today. We don't gonna have the recognition that we have around the world. I understand her. On the other hand, I have my point of view that the media is a very important part of our sport too.
I understand that press conferences sometimes can be very unpleasant, and it's not something that you enjoy always, especially if you lose a match or something like this. So, but it is part of the sport and part of your life on the tour.
Young Naomi Osaka's standoff against world tennis's most powerful has already started many conversations around the age-old rule of obligatory press conferences, especially when it affects a player's mental health. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, let's quickly end the show with our fact-check segment where we bust certain myths masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp groups. Now, there is an image floating about which suggests and is spreading fake news that from the 1st of June, 173 rupees would be deducted after 4 ATM withdrawals. False, viewers. Nothing like that is going to be happening. This is fake news. With that, I'm going to dip into a quick break. To stay with us, up next is To The Point.